All right, so ChatGPT, we're all using it. Most of us are using it. If you're not using it after the end of the session, you will want to use it, and you will use it. So all of us will be using it by the end of the session. Very important thing, ChatGPT is a tool, and tools are only as good as the person using them. A hammer is only as good as the person swinging the hammer, right? If you don't know how to swing a hammer, then you're not going to be effective. A fool with a tool is still a fool. So we have to know how to use the tool, right? And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you in the next hour here how to use ChatGPT at a high level. And first, we have to start with the basics, and that, of course, is what is ChatGPT. Now, obviously, we all know what it is, but at the very beginning, when this thing came out, it was kind of hard to explain it. And people would be like, okay, what actually is it? And I'm like, everything that Google wished that it was? I don't know. Like, it has a conversational response with you, but what I want to do is I want to tell you guys how this thing works, because if you understand what's going on in the background and how it gives you a result, then that's going to change the way that you use it forever. And so ChatGPT is a large language model. It's an LLM. You've probably heard that term, some of us. LLMs are conversational response bots that you're talking to back and forth. So you might have used another tool that's similar, because there are several large language models now, like Gemini, Claude, Copilot. You've probably seen those or used them. They're all large language models. So what is a large language model? An LLM is something that has been trained on a lot of data. I'm talking trillions of data points, where it's been loaded in with a ton of human written stuff, articles, journals, books, and it analyzes this massive amount of data from online, from written pieces, and it understands how humans communicate in literature. And the only thing that it's really doing is it's determining what word should come after the previous word. It's a language predictor, is all it is. Shocker, but ChatGPT knows no truth. It doesn't know what's true and false. It's literally just predicting what word should follow the last word, which is why sometimes it can hallucinate, and you're like, that's not true information, right? It's just predicting what word should come after the previous word based on all the things that it's been trained on within human literature. So this technology, AI has actually been around for 50 years. I don't know if you guys realize that. It's only become very popular in the last couple years with the release of ChatGPT 3, which there were other ChatGPTs before. It's just, it was not user-friendly. You had to be a developer to use it, so the masses didn't know about it. But ChatGPT's been a thing for a long time. And so the version that came out where you could literally just type in text and it responds to you and you didn't have to be a developer, that's when AI exploded, because now this technology that's incredible, that was only available to people who are super smart, is available to anyone who's ever sent a text message or can communicate via text, right? And so we all think that, oh, AI is brand new in the last 2 years. No, it's been around for 50 years. Here's the difference. 50 years ago, AI was only good at making calculations and predicting numbers in sequences. And then in 2018, Google researchers actually changed the whole landscape, because you know when you type something in the Google search, how it would start to autofill what you were going to say? Like it would predict what you might be typing in? That technology is what led to large language models, because it's predicting what word should come next. And so Google researchers, and they just did that technology to make it easier for you to search for something in the search bar. But what that led to was, if we can predict accurately what word should come after a previous word in the human language, then we can do not just one little search bar, but we could write articles, we could create a bunch of content. And so to understand exactly how these large language models work, we have to understand that ChatGPT and these LLMs reference 3 different things before it gives you a response. So I'm going to give you the 3. The 3 is, number 1, the data set. So this is the trillions of data points that it's been trained on. It's constantly getting loaded with more human literature, more articles, more web pages, more Reddit threads, right? Like just everything. And it references all of its data, the large amount of data, before it gives you a response. The second thing that it then references is the prompt that you put in. So it takes the large data set and it says, okay, now what are they asking for? And the more basic the prompt, the more basic the result that you're going to get. The more detailed the prompt, the more detailed of a response. And I'll show you the differences in a moment. But that's why it's garbage in, garbage out with prompts. The prompt matters. How you ask matters. Because you're not going to get a great result if you don't ask the right way. And then the third thing that it references is the prior chat history of what you've been talking about in that conversation. So then it references everything you've been talking about, exactly what prompt you put in, and the massive amount of data, and it calculates to say, what should the first word be? And then it recalculates all three of these things again to say, based on that first word, what should the second word be? And then it recalculates all three of these things again to say, what should the third word be based on those first two words, and so on and so forth. Again, it knows no truth. It's literally just at its core a language predictor. It predicts what should come next. And it does a very accurate job, most times, of getting it very, very right. And so to give you an understanding of how crazy this technology is and why everything's exploding and why everyone's so crazy about it, it runs 175 billion, with a B, calculations per word that it gives you. Every word, there's 175 billion calculations going through all of these different variables, which is why I could copy and paste a prompt in, and Tina could copy and paste a prompt in, and we're going to get different results because there's so many different variables, okay? So I was flying home from Dallas, I think a real estate event in Dallas, to back home to North Carolina. And I remember thinking, AI is like ChatGPT, this version hadn't come out yet. I have friends who are developers and super smart. I am not one. I'm just good at communicating this stuff. And I knew that this technology was coming. And I thought, this is going to change a lot of industries because there's so many things that we can do with it. But I know real estate agents. For those of you who don't know, I was a chief operating officer of a mega team. So I come from real estate, which is why I built my AI systems and software for real estate agents, because I wanted to build it for my team so we could sell more homes. And I'm flying home from this conference and I'm thinking there's two problems when it comes to AI and real estate agents. One, they don't know what to ask. And two, they don't know how to ask it to get the best results. So if I can solve those two problems, then I can change the real estate industry forever. And on that flight, I started creating my AI systems and strategies, and I started writing out prompts, testing them, tweaking them, testing them, tweaking them to create this program. And I'm going to share with you some of the work that I've done to where you can just, Tina, copy and paste, and I think she can do that, copy and paste and get really good results because you don't have to think about what you can ask it, and you don't have to think about how to ask it because I've done all the work for you. It has been 982 days since I've turned on a TV because I decided on that flight 982 days ago to commit to figuring out the best strategies that we could use to save time and to sell more homes, right? And so some of these strategies that I'm going to take you through are very easy to do, but just understand it's taken a lot of work to get here, and I'm giving this to you for free because I want to raise the bar of our industry. You know, we have a lot of things coming at us right now as far as, you know, discount brokerages and all these people trying to cut our commissions. If we all do better, then we're all helping each other, right? We're all going to help each other if we all raise the bar. And so I've been on this massive like world tour the last couple of years trying to help real estate agents use this thing the right way so that we can all be better as a real estate professional. Fair? All right, so I'm going to jump in and I'm going to give you the very basic kind of 7 use cases of how a real estate agent can use ChatGPT. So if you're taking notes, this is probably a good thing to take notes of. You can refer back to this, and I'm hoping that it will inspire you to think of ways that you can use ChatGPT outside of the norm, okay? Some of these are extremely basic, and some of them will be more thought-provoking, but I'm going to take you through all 7, okay? The first use case of ChatGPT is simple questions. So what I'm going to do is I am going to exit out of this, and we're going to go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you. Let's see here. Let's go to ChatGPT, which, by the way, if you aren't using ChatGPT, go to chatgpt.com. The company is OpenAI. Everything that I'm going to show you here is in the free account. I will tell you the differences between the free and paid account because there are massive differences that it's worth it. But you can start and you can use everything that I'm doing here on a free account. So just sign up for a free account. It's worth it. I promise you. This is what it looks like on the inside. It just says, hey, what can I help you with? And you send a message. So if I am going to ask simple questions, then for an example, if I were to Google, let's Google who won the Super Bowl. Let's do who won the Super Bowl in NFL. Oh, there we go. Let's do 1995. I do that because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And the Cowboys beat the Steelers. Do we have any Vikings fans in here? Wow. That actually represents, that's a very good representation of like the last 20 years for you guys. 60, yeah. NFL season, all right, it tells me, if I Google this, it tells me, I have to look down here in Wikipedia, Cowboys defeated the Steelers, okay? What Google does is it gives me a list of articles, a static list of articles that could potentially answer my question. This is a very easy question to ask, so it's very easy for me to see who won. If it's a more complex question, I probably have to read an article, see if it answers my question, go back to the list of articles, and find one that answers my question. Now, I can do the exact same thing with ChatGPT. I'm going to put my mic down. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah. Okay, because I'm going to type. In ChatGPT, I could say who won the Super Bowl in the NFL season 1995, and it's going to tell me the same thing. Sometimes the network of some of these places block ChatGPT, so let's see if that's the case. Who won the Super Bowl in the NFL season 1995? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see better. Can you see better now? Okay. Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Great. Awesome. Now, here's the difference when it comes to a large language model and when it comes to something like Google. If I say who was the quarterback, I'm going to get a list of like, I don't know, here are the current NFL quarterbacks. Because it doesn't know what I'm talking about. But if I go to ChatGPT and I just say who was the quarterback, it's going to tell me that Troy Aikman was the Cowboys quarterback in the 95 season when they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers. So why is this so important for a real estate agent? Because what I type in, it's referencing everything that I've talked about in the prior chat to then give me an answer. So if that's true, then I can load the chat with certain things before I create content so that when it creates content, it's referencing everything I've loaded in it and trained, and I'm getting very specific results. Rather than just going in here and saying, hey, write me a blog about interest rates, I can load it with specific information about my target audience, about my unique value proposition, about my market, my price point, everything. And then I can write the blog, and it's very specific to me as a real estate agent. Okay? And that's the difference. But first use case is simple questions. Anything that you want to Google, you can ChatGPT as well. Number 2 would be generate lists. So this would be ideas, hobbies, business ideas. You can tell it how many things you want in the list. You could say, give me a list of 100, give me a list of 50, 10, whatever number you want, and it's going to give you a response with that. Now, a good example of this is I could say, I want to pick up a new hobby. Give me a list of 10 things I could try. Now, I've actually trained my ChatGPT on me and my preferences, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this temporary chat thing here, which doesn't use any of my training. So if you guys ever want it, first off, not to go into your history, or if you don't want it to be trained on what you're asking it, you can use temporary chat, and it clears all of its memory for a moment, and it doesn't keep this in the history. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you what this normally happens without having a trained model. All right, so here's some 10 things that might be fun. Photography, maybe. Gardening, no way. Painting or drawing, I'm horrible. Cooking or baking, horrible. Journaling, yes. Hiking, yes. Instrument, yes. Reading, puzzles, no way. I hate puzzles. Coding, I'd already told you that I'm not smart, I'm just good at communicating, so no. So you can see some of these are hit or miss, right? Because most people use ChatGPT this way and they're like, hey, give me a list of 10 things. Well, you haven't given it details about who you are, what you like, whatnot. So if I were to do a new chat and I were to say, let's do, I'm a 35-year-old male living in Greensboro, North Carolina. I enjoy sports, outdoors, and music. Give me a list of 10 new hobbies I can try. Make them specific to Greensboro. The way you ask the question 100% matters, because now here are things that I can do. And look, pickleball at this specific park, which is a real place. Burr Mill Park for mountain biking, done. Disc golf at Barber Park, sweet. Kayaking at Lake Brent. These are all real places in Greensboro, and all I had to do was tweak how I was asking the question to get much better responses. So 90% of real estate agents are like, write me a thing about this, and that's all they give it. But what if we were to train these models on very hyper-specific reasons on why you're doing what you're doing, your target audience, what you offer as a real estate agent, and then we created content after we did that? That's when you get really good results, right? Number 3 would be long-form written pieces. You can write articles, blogs. I'm going to show you how to write a proper blog in a moment, but most people will do this and they'll say, write me a blog about, let's say, mortgage interest rates in Minnesota. And they just kind of give it junk, right? Now, it is going to write you a blog. And you can be specific. You can say 1,000 words, 2,000 words, 3,000, however long you want it, you can totally do that. It will write this for you, and most people are fine with this, and they just copy and paste it, and they're done. I'm going to show you how to get really good results with blogs in a second here. But it is very capable of writing long-form written pieces. Number 4 would be feedback prompts, and this would be asking it to give you feedback on things that you've done. So anything that you've written, you could paste in there and be like, okay, give me some feedback on this. Or you could say, make this more professional. Give me feedback. It'll give you feedback on grammar, on spelling, on punctuation. It can make things more concise for you. It can make things more detailed for you. One of the things that I used to do is we used Follow Up Boss for our team. Had 30 agents on our team in Greensboro before I was doing this full time. And we would use Follow Up Boss, which automatically tracks the calls. It records every call for our prospecting. And I would go in and I would pull calls and I would drag the audio file into ChatGPT and say, what could I have done to better acquire this customer? And it takes the call and it says, well, Cameron said this at 2 minutes and 32 seconds. He could have said this instead. So then you can almost role play with ChatGPT on calls, because with the paid version, you can upload files. So I had the paid version, so I just uploaded the audio file. If you have the free version, you could just transcribe that, paste the text in and be like, hey, what could I have done better here? Here's the transcript of my call. And it will give you feedback or training on anything that you've written, emails, blogs, text messages, doesn't matter. There are a lot of emails that have probably gone over way better to my ex because I threw them in ChatGPT first and said, make this a little more respectful. And it did a great job. And I still got to write it the way I wanted to write it. Modification prompts. So this can modify anything. You can translate things to another language. You can lengthen something, and it will use what you're talking about. It'll just say it in a longer format. You can shorten something to where you can condense something and say, hey, look, take this entire blog that I wrote and write a 100-word Facebook status. And it will take what you're talking about, but it'll condense it down to a shorter way. You could literally just paste something in and say, reword this, and it'll say the same meaning in different words. You can rearrange something. You can change it however you want to. But if you're in here and, let's take this blog. Let's take point number 1, and let's just say, let's do rewrite this in Chinese. And we can paste that in. It's going to write it in Chinese. So you can change the language, you can translate things. There is a really neat feature on ChatGPT where, let's say you wrote this whole blog and you're like, you know what, I really don't like this section. I like everything else, but I don't like this section. And actually, I like this, what our mortgage interest rate, I like starting with that. I just don't like the way that they wrote this. You can highlight something and this little reply button comes up to where you can click on that. And now that section that you've highlighted is down here and you're talking to just that part. So you could say, rewrite this in a friendlier tone or whatever you want to say to edit it. And it's only going to edit that part. So if you are dealing with a longer thing and you just want to hone in on one specific thing, that's a great way to do it. Number 6 then is instructional prompts. There's going to be how-tos, guidelines, any type of instructions. It's loaded with so much human knowledge. It's also loaded in with a lot of instruction manuals. So you could literally go in here and be like, hey, help me change my toner in my HP 32i. I made that up. But you can literally put in some type of thing that you've got and ask for help on how to do it because it's been loaded with instruction manuals. I could go in here and I could just say, I don't know, how do I build a birdhouse? It's going to give me a list of materials that I need to shop for. Here we go. And then it's going to take me through step-by-step how to build a birdhouse. You can do this with anything. Like obviously that's a very basic scenario. But you could ask it how to do anything. Give me step-by-step instructions on how to do whatever. And it will 100% do that. Great with instructions. It also allows you to upload photos and obviously audio files and whatnot. So there's a use case which kind of gives you some inspiration on what you can do. On your phone, there's a ChatGPT app on your phone which links to your account online. So when you have conversations on your phone and online, it keeps them all synced. But on your phone, there was a bicycle. They took a picture of the bike and they said, how do I lower the seat? And it analyzed the image to say there's a lever, it's right here, it's this color. This is what you need to do this, and you can lower the seat. So then they took a picture of a different lever on purpose and say, this one? And it said, no, it's right here. This is the lever that you need to use, whatnot. Pretty cool. Then they said, if I want to change the tire, what size wrench do I need for the bolt on this specific bike? And they took a picture of the instruction manual and they took a picture of their toolkit with all the different sizes of wrenches. It analyzed the instruction manual to know what size, and it pointed out which wrench to use or which size to use from his toolbox. So it not only can analyze text, but it can analyze images. I can take a picture of my fridge open and say, based on what I have, what can I make for dinner tonight? And it'll give me, with the recipe, exactly what I can have. I have loaded ChatGPT on my dietary restrictions because I have a health coach who's like very specific with what I can eat, and I travel so much that it's been really hard to, keep all of that. But I've loaded in all of my preferences, and I can take a picture of a menu, which I do every night I go out to dinner. I take a picture of the menu, I say, what can I eat? and it tells me what to order based on my dietary restrictions. Get this, tell the waiter to hold this, ask if they can do this on the side, everything, right? I use it every day. I trained it on my alcohol preferences. What I like, what I don't like. I don't like super sweet drinks, all this stuff. Take a picture of a cocktail menu, 99 times out of 100, it knocks my order out of the park. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome because it knows my preferences for food and drink. Yeah?
Maybe you'll get to this, but how do you train it on your preferences?
So I will get to that. And yes, I will show you how. Because what I'm going to show you is if you train it on your preferences, it references everything that you've talked about in that prior chat history to then give you an accurate response. So knowing that, that's when I started thinking, well, if I can train it on my food preferences and it references that every time I take a picture of the menu, then I can train it on my business preferences. And when it gives me content, it's very specific. And that's how I'm going to teach you how to do it. Same way for training it on anything, but I'm going to show you how to train it on your business. Last thing is information extraction. You can extract data from any text, any article, video. Provide me with an outline. It'll pull things from books and literature, articles, links, transcripts, video. So if I were to go in here and say, write me a summary of the book Good to Great, I don't have time to read it, right? Here you go, Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it's going to go through this summary. I can specify how long I want the summary. I can specify that I want bullet points for each chapter. So let's do that. Once it's done here, I'm going to say, give me a bullet point summary of each chapter. And here you go. Good is the enemy of great, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Level 5 leadership, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And you can literally ask it to, okay, expand on chapter 3, bullet point 2. You know? And you can extract data from text. So those are the 7 use cases. There's obviously more that you can do, but like, you know, ChatGPT will code for you and it can create programs and software with coding. I don't think I've met a real estate agent yet that cares. Okay, so I don't have that in my list of things because these are the 7 general use cases of how to use this thing. So hopefully that will kind of get your mind going a little bit on like, okay, I've been writing a Facebook status or a property description with it, but it is, you're definitely able to do a lot more than that, okay? I'm going to give you guys that PDF, okay? The reason I'm going to give it to you now is because in that PDF, in the second half of the PDF, there are prompts that I'm going to use from that PDF, and I'm going to show you how to exactly use them to change your business. So I want you guys to have it so you can have it on your phone or your device while I'm doing it. Is that fair? Okay, so this is the QR code for the tools and the prompts that I'm going to go over. That's the QR code. If you hate QR codes, go to philstringer.com/Minneapolis24. If you don't know how to spell Minneapolis, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be here. So the funny thing is, I did an event in Cincinnati, and I literally started off the whole thing joking about how like only real Cincinnati people know how to spell Cincinnati. I'm a huge Reds fan, so I've had to spell Cincinnati 100 times in my life. And joking about how, oh, so many people mess it up, you know, I'm a true Cincinnati fan, whatever. I get to this slide, and Cincinnati was spelled wrong. My team, I don't do these slides, my team had spelled Cincinnati wrong. I was just giving so much shit to people about spelling Cincinnati wrong. I get to this slide, and Cincinnati was messed up, so. All right, so everyone should have that now, where it gives you access to that PDF. I'm going to switch over to that PDF, and we're going to work from the PDF. So this is the same PDF where I gave you those tools, but if you pass the tools, we have a section called prompts. And I'm going to start with this very first prompt that I give you, and I'm going to read this to you because this is how to train your ChatGPT, and this does an amazing job at it. So it says, prepare to generate content for me in future prompts. Before we proceed, I want you to fully comprehend my business, customers, target audience, and goals. Base your future responses on my provided answers that I will give to you. I want you to fully understand my objectives for creating content. To achieve this, ask me at least 25 questions about my business, customers, target audience, vision, goals, and any other necessary details to complete the upcoming task to the best of your ability. Your understanding is crucial for optimal results. You copy that, you paste that in ChatGPT, and you see what we're doing here is we're flipping it back on ChatGPT to say, look, I want you to create me stuff, but you know what you don't know about me. So interview me about my business first. I'll answer those questions, and it's going to reference the answers to my questions every time it creates content to make the content specific to my answers. So, Tina, what we do is we just highlight this, we copy it, we go into ChatGPT. Again, I'm going to do temporary because it's already trained on my business. I do this, and it gives me a set of 25 questions. All right, so obviously it needs to know what industries I'm in. It needs to know personality stuff, target audience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it go through all of this information, which I forgot I have the memory feature turned on. So it is using stuff about my AI business, but that's fine. Same type of thing if you do it on yours. So I'm going to pull these 25 questions, and I said at least 25, so it might give me a couple more. Looks like it is. Done. So I have 29 questions. I'm going to copy all of these questions, and I am going to put them in a Google Doc, Notepad, whatever it is, right? So I'm going to do a blank document. I'm going to paste these things in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, we talk about investing time. This is the best investment that you can do. I am going to answer these questions, take 30 minutes. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to put a ton of information in here. The more info you give it, the more detailed it will be. But if there's a question where you're like, I don't really know how to answer that, don't answer it. Like, you're just giving it as much information as you want to give it. You can see, because I've already trained the model on my business, which is our business is Stratus Global, it says what specific industries aside from real estate does Stratus Global focus on when delivering AI efficiency coaching? Like, this is specific to me. But it's going to ask you questions specific to you, and then you answer those questions. So what you're going to do, you're just going to hit enter, and you're going to answer the question, right? Go off to number 2. Answer the question. Answer as many questions as you can, and then copy the whole thing, questions and answers, once you've answered them. And you're going to want to go back to ChatGPT, and you want to just say, here are the answers to your questions. Right? Paste in the questions and answers, hit enter. Now it's been trained on all of those details, okay, in this conversation. So there's a couple different ways to train your ChatGPT on this. The way that I'm showing you right here can be done with the free account. There is a way to do it with the paid account, which is better than this, but I'm giving you guys, for the free users, this is what you do. Once you've loaded that in and it's been trained, over on the left-hand side, when it's not a temporary chat, because temporary chat doesn't add to your history, but if it's not a temporary chat, it adds this, the conversations to the left-hand side. So you see my good to great summaries right here. So what you're going to want to do after you've trained it on your business is click this little 3-dot thing, hit rename, and just name it whatever the name of your business is. Like, for me, it would be Stratus Global. So that way you know, anytime you want to create content, I didn't even spell my company right. Anytime you want to create content for Stratus Global or for Tina's real estate team or whatever the name of your business is, you go to that conversation and you name it something that you're going to remember. And every time you create content in that conversation, it references the whole prior chat history to give you a response. So it's referencing all of your answers to give you a response. Here's the thing with the free version and doing it this way. 1, you always have to go to that conversation when you're creating content for your business. But 2, ChatGPT has what's called a context window, where it forgets information after so much text. So the context window right now, and it changes all the time, for ChatGPT is 32,000 tokens, which is about 100 to 150 pages of a book. So if you start creating a lot of content, you have to load those questions and answers back in every once in a while so it doesn't forget. Okay? This is if you have the free version, this is the way to do it. But keep this Word document or this Google Doc, because every 100 to 150 pages of text conversation that you're going through, you're going to have to reload it, and because it's going to start to forget. It only has a certain memory, and it's 32,000 tokens, which is 100 to 150 pages. So if you have the paid account, there is a way to do this. Now there's also, this is kind of a little bit of a loophole that I'll give you guys for the free people, free version of ChatGPT. You might say, I don't want to deal with that. Like I don't want to have to retrain it every 150 pages. What you can do is on the top right-hand side of ChatGPT, there's this little thing here where you can customize your ChatGPT. And this, you see, this is where it was pulling the information from, where it knew that I was with Stratus Global. You have 1,500 characters in this section that you can put whatever you want, and every single conversation, every new conversation, it adds this as a fourth variable. Remember I gave you the 3 things that it references? This becomes the 4th thing that it references on every single chat. So if you're running multiple businesses, don't do this. But if you're only running one business, you have 1,500 characters that you can put in here for it to know before it gives you a result. So it's not going to be the most detailed because it's only 1,500 characters. But what you should do is, if you want it to be in every conversation that you're doing, doesn't matter if you don't have to go back to the chat, after you put those questions and answers in, you just say, give me a summary of my business based on this information in 1,500 characters or less. It writes a summary for you of everything that you just said in those 25 questions and answers. You copy that summary and you put it in that section, and it gives you a short summary of what your business is about. So then, even on the free account, you can still, you don't have to retrain it, you don't have to go back to that conversation every single time. It's not going to be quite as detailed because it's only 1,500 characters, but it gets the idea, and it's a lot simpler and easier than having to remember to retrain the thing every 150 pages, right? So those are the 2 options for free people. Yes?
If you have virtual assistants or people on your team that you want to be able to sound like you, is there a team feature that can be shared, or do they just log into yours?
There is a team feature. You have to have a minimum of 2 seats, obviously, to be a team. And I think it's $25 a month per seat, but you guys can have a collaborated workspace. So I have a team account for my team, and I also have a personal account just for myself. And yes?
Are you going to cover how to customize GPT in 4 Omega?
Yes. Yes, that's where I'm going next, so thank you. All right, everyone's clear on if you have the free ChatGPT account, this is how you train the business, yes? Okay. If you have the paid account, raise your hand if you're paying for premium ChatGPT. Okay, $20 a month, but there are several different features with the paid version, like uploading files, you can have it analyze documents, and it's great. One of the best features of the paid version of ChatGPT is that you have what are called GPTs that you can train on your business, on certain things, and it doesn't forget the information. So if you have a free account, you can use GPTs, but you can't create them yourself. Can't train a GPT yourself. What I recommend people do, if you have the paid version, is create this little white button up here that says create. Create yourself your own GPT, load in those 25 questions and answers into the GPT's knowledge, which the knowledge for a GPT is also 32,000 tokens, but it doesn't forget that information ever. So it's not like you have to retrain it. You just have 150 pages of brain space to load in whatever you want to load in about yourself. Once you create that GPT, you can pull it into any conversation ever. So how to build a birdhouse, I can hit @ and start typing in my GPT. And here you go. There's an Alex Hormozy GPT that someone created. And I can pull in what it Phil's writing style. I created a GPT on exactly how I write. So if I were to go into this how to build a birdhouse and I click Phil's writing style and I say, give me the instructions in Phil's voice, right? I can literally go into any conversation, pull in my writing style, and it will write things in my, so you can make as many different bots as you want. Phil's speaking style, Phil, whatever, right? Okay, look at this. Nothing fancy, just the basics. If you guys follow me at all, you know I hate crap. I'm like, cut the crap. Like, let's just go to the basics. Like, let's just do stuff that works. I don't want all the fluff. Nothing fancy, just the basics. Like, it literally writes like I write. And so I can pull in Phil's voice for anything I want to do. If I train it on Stratus Global as a company, I pull in Stratus Global. If I train my cupcake company that I just started yesterday, I didn't, I'm just kidding. But if I did, I could pull in Phil's cupcakes and do marketing materials for, and so if you have multiple businesses, that's a great way to do it. You don't ever have to go back to a conversation because you pull the GPTs into whatever conversation you want, whenever you want. In and out, in and out. And you have a separate brain of 150 pages of data that you can load into it to pull into any conversation, create content, pull it out. This is only available for the paid users to create them. You can use them if you have the free account. You cannot create them. Okay, questions on that?
How do you do it? Like, how do you make that ChatGPT?
Yeah, so I can do it for you, or I can teach you how to do it. You click create, and you talk to the bot, and it asks you, hey, what do you want to create? You're just having a conversation. I want to create a GPT that's trained on my business. All right? Do you have any files that you want to upload, or do you want to paste in information? Yeah, I'm going to paste in these 25 questions and answers, and then I also have this PDF that explains, our listing process. Okay, cool. What do you want it to be named? Stringer Realty, GPT. Okay. Do you want to upload an image, or do you want me to create one for you for your logo? I'm going to upload one. Cool. Anything else you want to add to the brain? No, I'm good. Done. Pretty simple. Yes?
Do you have a list of specific GPTs that you would recommend?
Yes. So we just did this last week for the first time ever, and I'm kind of kicking myself because it costs me time, which normally I'm very efficient with my time. But we opened it up to 10 people on a webinar where I was like, I'll build this for you. And what I recommend is, one, a GPT on your business that knows everything about your business. And this is what we built out for people. Two, your specific writing style. So if you wanted to write anything, then it's in your style for your writing. And then your speaking style. Because if you want to create scripts for videos, whether it's long form or short form, how you speak is different than how you write. And so we create a speaking GPT, a writing GPT, and a business GPT. And then we also craft your unique value proposition for you. If you don't know what makes you different from other real estate agents, you have to know. And so part of that, we also take the business stuff and we create a UVP for each specific agent. And then we give them a 50-page custom business and marketing blueprint. I just got done with the 10, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again, because it cost me time. It was very helpful for people, and they loved having it all done. But yeah, I might open it up to another 10 now that I'm done, but I don't know if I'm going to do that many times. So that's what I would recommend: business, speaking, and voice.
Can you pull multiple bots in on the same conversation, like your voice and your business?
Yes, just not in the same prompt. So you could pull it in and yeah.
Get the results
And then pull in another one, and yeah, pull them in and out. Yeah.
To figure out the speaking style, do you upload like a video for it to?
So
analyze?
what I do for my clients, so I ask them for any type of video of them speaking, and then I transcribe the video, and then I paste the transcription in, and I train the bot on the transcription for the speaking. So I have a speaking bot, I have a writing bot, I have a business bot. I would look at these bots as like individual tasks, because if you get hyper focused on like one thing, like, hey, here's our Instagram bot, it does a really good job. But if you just do an overall bot that does blogs and all marketing, it's like, it's okay. But the more hyper specific you get, like, hey, this is our social media captions generator bot based on our business, it can work really well if you get hyper specific. So, yeah, yes.
You can just enter your handle and it finds it too, right? You don't have to
It does. You can put in, you would say search the web for, and it will use the web to search for anything that's on Google from your handle. It's not going to pull everything. It's just going to pull like what it scrapes from Google's pages. You could load it in with screenshots and anything you want if you wanted to go really detailed. So yeah, you get a context window of 32,000 tokens, again, 150 pages of a book of data that you can load into each GPT. And it doesn't forget that data like the conversations do. Because as your conversation gets longer, the stuff at the beginning is being forgotten because it can only remember 150 pages at a time.
How much you need to, like if you're gonna create a writing voice, like how much do you need to give it, how many pages to?
I mean, the more you give it, the more like really detailed. I took like 5 emails that I wrote and loaded it in, and it works really well.
And you just say, these are emails that I wrote, this is my style or something
Yep.
like that?
Yep. And I would even go with like email marketing writing specifically, because like the way that I write email marketing is different from if I'm writing an email to someone.
Yeah, right.
So if you have different use cases, you could be like, here's my email marketing bot, here's my just regular writing to a friend bot, right? Yeah.
As it spits out content for you when you're using the bot and you correct it or you ask it to update based on things, does it remember the critiques that you give it?
Yeah, so not in the conversation, but you can critique it here on the GPT, right? So you have, this is where you create it, and then you can configure it here where you have different instructions and whatnot. So you can tweak it as you go within the GPT. Yeah.
But it doesn't, the conversations don't get.
The conversation wouldn't, because it's the 32,000 tokens of context window, like the brain, is only trained on what you do here so that it doesn't forget anything you trained it. So that's why it's not adding more to the brain from the conversations, because then it would be like, we're full, we need to forget some other things. It's just pre-trained on what you specifically trained it to do.